I am designing my own AFL board game. Let's talk about it. So, I've been working on an AFL board game or an Australian rules football board game since 2020. So 4 years. We were in COVID. At the time, I was working as I was an estimator at a graphic design place. We were like sign writers. So I was sign writing, um, and it was just during COVID. I was so bored. There was obviously no football or very, you know, less football. And I'm a big board game guy. I have probably over 100 board games. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I absolutely love my board games. Love my Dungeons and Dragons. I love rolling dice. I love painting miniatures. You should see that all sort of popping up on your screen now. And I thought, you know what? I've never seen a footy board game before. I bet I can do something about this. So when I had this idea for the board game, like I said, I had never played an AFL board game, didn't know any existed, but there are some that existed. The most popular one is 2013's AFL the board game, as you can sort of see here. So it kind of just goes, you go around the board with a couple of tokens, and there's a couple of umpire cards and stuff like that. It's kind of it's dice rolling, and then it's kind of like a snakes and ladder sort of game. There's also stuff like Footy Feud, like card games, kind of like a Uno sort of game. But this is, well, my version or my game is just totally different. Now, like I said, I'm a big Dungeons and Dragons guy, big, tabletop RPG sort of guy. And there's this board game called Blood Bowl, where it's likened off the NFL, so the American football, and pretty much you're playing as elves or goblins or orcs and all this sort of stuff in teams, but NFL strategy, dice rolling with action cards and stuff like that. But these miniatures can kill the other players on the team and stuff like that. So I've kind of modeled my game around that. Because I've done the miniatures. I've got, and I'll show you a little bit more about it as the video goes on or in the next episode. But I've done a lot of things. I've got a lot of rules. I've got a lot of, I've got my action cards all ready to go, and it's been a hell of a journey. So this is the notebook I use, and I don't usually take notes, but this was all in my head. So you can see here, what is it? 29th of the 12th, 29th of the 12th, 2020. So you can see all my notes here about the game. That's all my handwriting. So these are all the rules, basic gameplay, how it sort of works. So this was 2020. So this was almost 4 years ago, and I've got a whole bunch of rules. I made some edits back in 2021. And then I started on it a little bit again in 2022, and then I haven't touched it for a couple of years. And when I was making it, I was very excited to sort of do it. Life got in the way, all this Swoop stuff and the pies and the flag and all this sort of things. And I've got ADHD, so procrastinating, really put it off. But this week, I dusted it off again because I've moved houses. I've dusted it off again. And I've set it up, and I wanted to make this video to hold myself accountable and maybe generate some quote unquote hype on it, so you guys can hold me accountable as well. And I don't anticipate this game gets mass manufactured. This is just a passion project, much like Swoop is. Passion project for me, where I just want to get it at a stage where it is playable and good to go. So I unfortunately don't have all of my prototypes here, like the ones that I printed in 2020. But like I said, I was at a printing, a sign writing shop, and I designed this board. Well, designed is a, it's just the AFL ground. So I designed this, printed it out, kind of folds up like this. So this was maybe the third or fourth prototype that I had. So you can see here that it's got like little squares where you can sort of move your characters or your players that I'll show you in a second. So that was the first prototype, and I kind of liked it. I thought that I thought that the squares were the squares were a little bit too big. So in the next prototype that I've got, and I've got it set up, and that'll be for another video to sort of show you guys. They're a little bit smaller, a little bit more manageable. Now, I also, like I said, I paint and print miniatures. Oh, sorry, I didn't say print, but I paint miniatures. But I also print miniatures. I've got a bunch of 3D printers at the moment. So these are my player prototypes. So that guy's a Carlton guy because it was just easy to paint. The Collingwood ones are already set up, but these are unpainted. So there's all different sort of poses there. I used an online thing called Hero Forge. So this was what I was using. So they're pretty, well, you can see sort of my hand. They're pretty big. They're decent sized. But then I made a second prototype, which are a lot smaller, but I think they're too small. But I'll show you guys anyway. I'll get sort of the same ones out. So, okay. So this is my first prototype, this guy right here, and this was my second prototype. So you can see the big height difference in it. Still don't know which one that I'm going with yet, but it's very very exciting. And as you can see in this next video, this is what it looks like set up. See, there's only 18 players on the board. Traditionally, obviously, there's 18 players from each team on the board, so there's 36 players at a time on the field itself. But that was going to be too big, too hectic, so I've whittled it down and gone with a sort of AFL 9s sort of version. So 3 in defense, 3 in the midfield, and 3 in your attack. I'm thinking of maybe doing it as a 10, so 3 midfield and 1 ruck, or 2 midfields and 1 ruck. I'm still sort of gonna test that a little bit. But you can kind of see how it's set up, and you've probably seen it on my Instagram as well. But I'm really excited to be held accountable. And in the next episode, this is just a sort of a welcome to my AFL board game episode. In the next episode, I'll sort of walk you through a bunch of the rules and how I'm sort of thinking. You can provide your feedback. There's still a lot of water to go under the bridge. But it's, like I said, it's very, very exciting. And I hope you're just as excited about it as I am. I would love to play test this. My goal is to get it up and running by the end of the year. Maybe play test it next year. But I'm super excited. And it's not going to be for everyone. It's not going to be fast paced like that like football is, just in general. It's going to be a bit more strategy based, lots of dice rolling. There's going to be cards there as well, lots of movements, and for me, as a board game nerd, as a D&D nerd, this is right up my alley, and I hope there's a little niche section of Collingwood fans that feel this way as well. Anyway, guys, this has just been the first episode of my board game video series. I hope you enjoy it. Share it around to any football fan if you think they would enjoy it, or can provide some sort of tips. Leave your comments down below though, because I really do need your comments and everything like that. Can't wait to show you the next video. Don't know when that'll be. Maybe in a few weeks' time, while I sort of you know, put it all out there and sort of come up with how I want to structure that video. But thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, and until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later.